Oopsie, sorry guys, I let the time slip by there. Hang on a minute, I'm not quite ready. Slip by there. Hang on a minute, I'm not quite ready. Slip by there. Hang on a minute, I'm not quite ready. Echo, echo, echo. Hang on a minute, I'm not quite. Get rid of that echo. Sorry about that. Good morning, everybody. Ian, Diana G, Brenda Pruitt, Mike, welcome in. Who else is here? John Serpum, heading out to the store. We'll be back in a while. Artemis launched today. Yes, Artemis is supposed to launch. That's what got me distracted. I was in here chasing time schedules, trying to figure out when it's going to go up. If all things happen, I've got it on in the background, so you might hear it come on. I've got it on my TV, and they're doing loading and fueling and all that. But, morning, Francisco. Welcome in, sir. Yeah, I got distracted by space, and I'll show you why here in a little bit. But also the launch. I was trying to look up all the things. Why don't you not put your flags up? Why didn't I put my flags up? Well, I was hurting a little bit this morning and not feeling very steady, so I just decided to let you view my junk. Carol! Family. Well, explain to family that you've got other family here from a far another world. Well, you have fun, and we'll see you in and out. You can bring the family in too. You know, they're all welcome. I was going to take my shoes off to put my feet in the foot warmer. Now excuse me. So I got, not literally, but figuratively, caught my pants down. Hey, Teddy, you want to say anything this morning while everybody's here? Huh? You want to say hi to Miss Carol? You want to say hi, Carol? He said not right now. He's him sleepy. Brenda, if you'd like to come down and help me put my flags up, I can, but I'm just not going to worry about it right now. Well, I've got a lot of things straightened up down here in my studio / office / Tim and Teddy man cave. I don't have everything put away. That little tray right here that you see off that shoulder is what I keep a lot of my knife sharpening and working tools on, and I roll it around in the floor. And right now it's got a bunch of papers on top because I was also cleaning off my desk. And my desk tends to be a catch-all. I don't know if you guys have that problem or not, but the TNT man cave. That's right, Ian. I might have to get a sign that says that. That's right, isn't it, Tedward? Yeah, he's not. He's out. He's not going to get up right now. I could get him up, but when he's like this, he's Here's Carol said, "Hi, morning, Super Teddy." Yeah, he's not going to. He's when he's like this, I could get him up, but it wouldn't do any good. He would be mean and ornery. He's just like a kid getting them out of bed in the morning. If they're not ready to get out of bed, you parents know what I mean. They'll fight you tooth and nail. I mean, if you wanted them to go to bed and take a nap, they wouldn't. Oh, he skipped breakfast this morning? He's probably weak then. Are you fading? Did he even come up, Brenda, or did he stay down here? Got a new cup. Got not a new cup, but a different cup today. One of my favorite, Gary Larson. I don't know if you can read that or not, but it says "Bummer of a birthmark, Hal," and it's an image of a deer with a target on his chest, and it's the front patch of hair on his chest. Oh, Mike just remembered about feeding Glenny. He stayed downstairs. Well, he'll be hungry after a while then. He does have his dry food, though. Oh, my goodness. How's the weather? Let's do a weather check. We got rainy and stormy weather today. Not supposed to be bad stormy, but it is supposed to be stormy. You've seen which one, Ian? What did I miss there? Oh, okay. I'll feed your cat. Give it a donut, Mike. And then later, when the cat's bouncing off the walls, you can, tell her about the sugar in a donut. We had pretty nice weather last night and yesterday. It was warm. We had to go. Brenda and I attended a small funeral yesterday, and honestly, if you were out of the shade, it was kind of hot. It was kind of hot in the shade, to be honest, but it wasn't as bad. Oh, the comic. Okay, yeah, and it's one of my favorites. Actually, I like it a lot. That's why I've got that cup, I'm sure. And I don't remember if I bought that or somebody. I'm sure somebody gave it to me. At least I think they did. I don't. Brenda, do you remember where that cup came from? I loved Far Side. There's Far Side like mimics or copies out there that are pretty good too, but I'm not sure they'll ever meet the level of the original Gary Larson's. They're just some of them are just funnier than hell. Pardon me. And some of them are very subtle. Oh, Glenny's the feral cat that lives under our porch.
Quick update on the situation out here, the troubleshooting.
Okay, update on Artemis.
Team is currently in the midst of to try to get this leak to seal. They have completed the warm up and are now standing by to manually resume hydrogen flow through the line where they have seen the hydrogen leak. At the same
They're still
time,
trying to chase a hydrogen leak.
That's managing the upper stage.
Brenda bought it for me. I thought so, but I wasn't positive.
To start doing their purge sequences for the ICPS.
Yeah, bear with me. I'm going to try to
stage.
Stuck my feet in the sock.
They are,
so to speak.
They purge out those volumes in there and purge out the lines.
Is that too loud in the background?
Liquid oxygen side, helium.
I'll probably turn it down when I get really going. I'm just trying to.
This is they're going to do this so that they can
see if there's going to be any delays or here if it's not going to go today.
Behind due to the
I do plan to watch it if it goes.
So the team doing what it can to preserve this launch window, and then we're also monitoring this troubleshooting as well.
I hope they get to go up today.
4 minutes and counting. This is Artemis Launch Control.
3 hours, 34 minutes, and 6 seconds if things work.
The core stage is now officially in replenish.
So I'll mute
the core
that
stage
for now.
Is now officially in replenish for the liquid
oxygen
I got my tank. And you can see that venting from this shot right here and from this shot, fully venting out of the core stage at the top. Liquid oxygen is good to go. In replenish, still working troubleshooting over on the hydrogen side, which is.
I heard something the other day. I don't. Our friend John may know about that. He may pay more attention. He may not. But I heard him talk about how many pounds of nitrogen and liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen they put on this thing. It's like over 1 million pounds of fuel. It's just an astronomical nice pun there, not really intended, amount of fuel. I can't fathom it being able to hold that much. I look at that rocket on the pad from a perspective of, video cameras or whatever kind of cameras, and it's big, but I don't think we can appreciate how big it is unless we were standing there. But it's got to be quite huge. Just got a message in. Did it. Breaking news. My partner in crime will be about a half an hour. He might be a little bit late. He said about a half an hour. So he's got he's got his grandson with him there today, their youngest grandson, who's only a few months old. I can't remember his middle name. Boone Thomas, which I think is an appropriate name. And Boone, I know Boone was there yesterday. No, you don't want any of that leaking. And I can't remember. Well, it doesn't matter if it's liquid oxygen or liquid nitrogen, not nitrogen, hydrogen. You wouldn't want either one of them leaking. That's very true, Ian. They're talking about it being between like the skin of the spacecraft, the fuselage, I might call it, and the tank inside, I believe, which is, I don't know. That's one of the worst places, I guess, and most likely place too. I mean, there's got to be that connection so they can hook on and fuel it. So that's not a good place unless once they are fueled, they can shut it off. Now, in that case, they might be okay. I haven't read enough about it to know if they've got that part figured out. But we'll see. I'll make sure we do that, Ian. He'll be glad to know that. And his next question will be, what pay? I don't have enough money to pay him his worth, Ian. I couldn't. It's really hard for me to even explain what his value is to me. It's unexplainable, probably. Getting back in touch with Mark was one of the best things I've done in a long, long time. And there wasn't any reason we weren't in touch all that time. We just both, I think, were lazy and got lazy and lost phone numbers and that kind of stuff. And he's on one end of the country and I'm on the other. But finding him again, so to speak, and reconnecting and talking 2 or 3 times a week and he's coming on the show with me, which he doesn't have to do. It wasn't ever his. I'm quite sure he never thought he'd be on, the World Wide Web on camera, but he does it willingly and, for lack of a better word, I guess, faithfully when he can. And it means the world to me. Don't tell him I said that. I get emotional. I do. I get emotional about it. So don't tell him I said that either. But he probably knows. You spend a year in bed practically, and you have surgery, and they work on your back, and you finally get to where you can move around a little bit, and that's a great thing. But you're not quite whole, and Mark really fills up that emptiness in me a lot of times. He's always has. He and I've spent some, as the old trappers used to say, some shining times together. And that might seem like simple times to some people, and sometimes it's not going anywhere or doing anything. It's just it might have been sitting around the campfire somewhere or sneaking through the woods, looking down a wooden shaft of an arrow at a white-tailed deer or something. But we've spent some good times. That's true, Ian. That's a good point. Well, I'm glad you guys do like Mark being here, because I sure do. And most everybody seems to appreciate it. He's a sharp guy. He was hell of a wildlife biologist. Probably far better than I'll ever dream of being, or would have. We were in kind of in two different lines of work, doing similar things, but entirely different agencies and that sort of thing. So he got to do a lot more of the really fun stuff than I did. But, and by fun stuff, we mean like trapping animals and, maybe tagging animals and being out in the woods with animals. Yes, Brenda, I think that's true. If anybody knew us very well and had known us for years, you'd probably think that. I think I've said it before, but my mother decided at some point in my life that I was born in the wrong century. And she told me one time that she thought I was born a couple of 100 years too late. And I think she was right in many ways. Not that I haven't, embraced the world I live in, but I definitely think I was born in the wrong time frame. Or maybe I was there, and maybe that's why it's so important to me. And I don't understand all that kind of metaphysical stuff, but who knows? Maybe we were there. Maybe we were running the hills together. He is such a talented guy too, Ian. He seriously does. He's an artist. I mean, I have drawings on my wall that he did years ago for me. He has illustrated a book now for those fellows out in, people he knew that wrote the children's book about the black-footed ferret, which is not currently being sold. We're hoping to get, I say we, like I have anything to do with it, but all I have to do is I read it, I like it, I think it's a good book and a good read, and they need to get it back out on the market, but that's not his call. I'll tell you, he's upset about it, but it's not his call. But he's done that, and he builds, he goes out and makes Native American style bows, or just about any kind of bow, that he takes a notion to, but he makes them by hand, and they're wooden bows. He doesn't do fiberglass layups and fancy materials. They're just natural wooden bows. And he can build a muzzle loading rifle as good, I think, pretty close to as good as his dad can, who his dad is an amazing gunsmith. I mean, he's built rifles. He's never gone at it, to do it in an art form, like to create these super expensive wall hangers for people. And there are people out there that do that, and people that buy them. Flintlock rifles, Pennsylvania long rifles, kind of thing. But his dad was phenomenal at just making one, building one. He can make a piece of metal. He can inlay a piece of metal and a piece of wood. It just looks like it grew there, literally. And Mark's just like him. I mean, in that respect, they're so alike. He can do the same kinds of things. Now, he's a machinist and a tool and die maker, and Mark's not interested in that part of his career, but his dad's very good at it. Oh, it's never too late, Mike. You can always pick up a bow. I mean, and these days it's not as hard to find what's known, most people would call a primitive bow, but something that doesn't have pulleys and wheels on it. I mean, that's the common. Compound bows are what most common, but straight bows, long bows, recurve bows, that kind of thing have really made a comeback in the last 15, 20 years. That's Mark and I hunted with that kind of bow for a long time, recurves, and I have a longbow. Mark's built several, and he hunts with nowadays he hunts with, if he hunts with a bow, he hunts with his own stuff. The things he's made. He's bagged a lot of rabbits and shot a lot of grouse with his. And he taught me something one time. Well, we've done it a few times, but he taught me how to hit aerial targets. And it was not only, I won't say it's easy, but it's not as hard as I thought it would be. And I've seen him knock things the size of a Pop-Tart, not a Pop-Tart, excuse me, sour, well, they're little round sour tarts or something like that. I've seen him hit that kind of stuff, dime size, nickel size, ping, knock it out or bust it into a cloud of sugar dust with his bow. And it's he's pretty good. And yet he would never claim to be a trick shooter. And if he tried to be a trick shooter, it probably wouldn't work. He just does it for fun. And when he does it for fun, actually, when most people do something like that for fun, they can do it so much better. Yeah, Mike, you guys are central. Well, I don't know if you call it central. What do you call? That's a good question. It probably doesn't make a bit of sense to. How do you describe time zones up there? Are they just Eastern, Central, Western Mountain like down here, or do you guys have a more official name? I figure we kind of put slang terms on everything. I'm sure if you looked in geographical references, they're probably named by numbers, a series around the globe or something. Sour Patch Kids? No, we weren't shooting Sour Patch Kids. Well, I don't think so. They could have been shooting gummy kids or gummy bears or something. Don't say that out loud, Ian. Somebody will be looking up and see if we're doing something bad to kids. Throwing kids up. Oh, I shouldn't even say this out loud, but I'm going to anyway. Flinging kids up in the world and shooting at them up in the sky and shooting at them. Okay, so they are central. Ian, there you go. There's our answer. Same as us. Sweet tarts candy. That's exactly it, Diana. That's what I was trying to say. I believe I actually saw Mark hit an aspirin one time with his bow. We used to make these arrows called flu-flus, or that's what some people call them. But they're made to shoot up at aerial targets or birds. They don't go as far. They got bigger, fluffier feathers on the back, fletching, and they're made to actually slow the arrow down quickly after you shoot it. So it's only going full velocity for the first, 10 yards, maybe. And then they slow down. So it makes it a lot easier to find them if you miss or if you're shooting birds. Or I see these guys on TV. I don't know if any of you guys have ever watched the show Alone. And a lot of those guys are take traditional bows in with them. Guys and gals take traditional bows in with them as their hunting / protection, because they're not allowed to take guns. And so that's how they survive. And they shoot at a lot of grouse if they're in Canada or the right part of the country. And if they don't have flu-flus, those arrows, if they miss one in a tree, they just go. An arrow from a full-strength bow can travel for 200 or 300 yards if it doesn't hit something just in a big arc. I used to do that when I was a kid just to see how far I could shoot them, and it's amazing how far one will go. So if I went to something like that, I'd have to take at least 3 or 4 flu-flus to shoot at birds and small game with, because Otherwise, I think you'd lose them all, and you only get to take 9 with you. So once you run out, guess who's going hungry? Yes, I get that. Oh, I know that, Ian. I was just joking about it. Hey, bud. You waking up? No, he'll stand up. He'll probably stand up when he's ready. Okay, babe. Hope you get to feeling better. I'm going to turn my camera off for a moment, guys. I got to readjust my seat. Yeah, all right, guys. Thanks for the patience. Oh man, I bought a new cushion for my chair. I love this chair, except for the one thing, and that's the seat in it. It's too soft, I think. So I bought a purple cushion to put in it to try and see if it helped. Because as you guys know, and you can probably tell by the way I wiggle, I'm hurt. I'm hurting in that regard. Glute muscles just are not being cooperative. And so I'm wiggling around a lot, and I'm trying to prevent that. And unfortunately, my cushion slides every time I move around it. I tend to slide it out towards the front of the chair, so I have to readjust it sometimes. I hope I can make it through this morning because I don't want to give up early, but for some, I am hurting today. Probably because I was out. I mentioned earlier, Brenda and I went to a funeral yesterday, and when we got there, we looked, and of course, naturally, it's Tennessee, so there's no flat ground here much, and so the funeral's halfway up this hillside that's actually fairly steep. And so I had to walk up that hill, and then while I was up there, I had to sit on the side of the hill in a chair that kept trying to throw me out. So I was really tense and tightened up the whole time. And coming off, they found the guy they had a guy at the cemetery with a 4-wheeler side by side, but it was a smaller one, and it was kind of hard to get in and out of. And they brought that up for us old folk that couldn't get up and down the hill because they had several other people with walking issues, and I was the first one to get in it, and the guy got me in there, and I thought he was going to kill me on the way down the hill. So that was anyway. The time I got home, I was feeling a little bit rough, and and I still am. Nothing like taking pills with a hot cup of coffee. Ooh. Looks like the countdown is still moving. I hope it keeps moving today. They have 2 hours again to launch, and they're whatever 3 hours from 13 minutes from now is. from then till 2 hours after that to get it up in the air. I can't wait to see this thing fly. It's so big. It's supposed to be even bigger than a Saturn V. I just can't. Sorry, guys. Can't fathom that. It's a huge rocket. I had a friend. I went to school with a friend that lived in Bradenton Beach, and if any of you guys hang out in any of the Disney channels, you probably know Joey and Lisa, and It's a Joey's World, and what a great family, and what a great story that is about human endurance and love and patience. But bing, I lost that thought. What was I saying? Carol made me think of it. Well, maybe it'll come back around on the guitar. I can't believe that just went right out. Brendan said we're going to have to get some of that memory medicine for old people they advertise on TV. Shoot, what was I getting ready to say? Mark popped in, and that got me distracted. I see him in the background. I hadn't brought him into he's in the green room, so to speak. He's getting ready. I see him adjusting his glasses, wiping his nose. But there he is, live and in person.
Good morning.
Good
all. Good morning, all.
Al. Yo, white man. I was just talking about something and you popped on the screen and that just totally blew my train of thought. I've noticed that happens when I talk to you a lot.
Why?
Well, we tend to get sidetracked. let's put it that way.
You need some of that old person medicine, like
Prevagen or something. They advertise
saying. Morning, Ian. Morning, Diana.
Yeah, everybody's looking for you. I think they're going to quit on me and go to you if you start your own screen because they all like you in here. They like you being in here, buddy.
I don't know why.
Well, you can read up and chat.
Maybe. Oh, bless you, my wife. My wife just brought me a big old cup of coffee and a grab boy. Hey, Boone.
Show off that grandchild.
Well, I'm going to eat you some breakfast. Give me that boy.
Brenda wanted me to tell you that when you were backstage, there's supposed to be some steak biscuits back here. Did you not see them? Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. He don't want to be with Papa. I don't want to be on the TV.
Hey, Boone. Oh, he's looking. Hey, Boone.
Good morning.
Hi, Boone, Thomas.
Can you see him?
He must see something. He said, "What?"
He's looking at the steam coming up out of my coffee cup.
All right, just burst my bubble.
That's way more interesting.
Just burst my bubble.
That's way more interesting.
How old is he now? Hey,
How
Tina,
old is he now? He's 9 months.
9 months.
Yeah.
Brenda told me to ask you if you saw the steak biscuits in the room when you were waiting to come in.
In the green room?
Yeah, did you see the biscuits were in there or were they all gone?
I think whoever else was in there already got them.
Mike, did you go in the green room and eat all the biscuits?
Somebody's already been in there, Ian or somebody.
It might could have been Ian. He was smacking his lips a while ago.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Oh,
might have to mute for a minute.
Okay. You didn't see us, Tina? I'm sorry. I put the notice out last night, but it was late again as usual. I've had a busy week. I'm not a busy week. I've had a confused week, I guess. I've been thinking on topics to discuss and trying to work on this deal with this folks to talk to at night. And Tina, I have not forgotten the topic you sent me, and I apologize. I should have done that Thursday night because I did get this other thing on my mind and I forgot. But that's still in the hopper. I will not forget that. Mike would only. Diana says Mike would only go to the green room if there was donuts in there.
I don't know. Hardy steak biscuit might put a donut to shame.
Well, but yeah, depends on which one you've had lately, you know. Ian said they were yummy. Was it only for online guests? He said. Sorry about that. That's okay, Ian. You Western guys, you may not even understand the joy and
of a chicken fried steak.
Yeah, of a chicken fried steak biscuit and a buttery southern biscuit, you know. Oh, it was there, but down the list. Well, I don't doubt that. I'm sure I don't rank very high in the lines of notifications and other things. So, Marcus, anything else?
Talking about?
We're going to talk about cryptic animals for a little bit.
About what? Oh, cryptic critters.
Cryptic zoology, and you know what? That's what I don't know if I put that in there or not. I think.
Did you say cryptozoology or cryptic animals?
Well, I said both. I said cryptozoology but cryptic animals. But I realize I shouldn't say it that way. That's actually incorrect, and I apologize. See, only you would know that or notice that.
So we're not talking about like gray tree frogs.
Well, we can.
We're talking about the Cherokee Devil.
Yes, but
I don't know a lot about them.
Well, but we can talk about them a little bit. But yes, cryptic animals actually are animals that hide well in nature. You know, like your gray tree frog or screech owl up against a gray faced screech owl up against the white oak tree bark, or those are very cryptic. Tina wants to know if there's cryptocurrency frogs. I don't think so, Tina, but we'll keep that in mind. And Mike said, I do.
I'm not showing off. I'm just trying to clarify what we're talking about. Because cryptozoology is the study of critters that don't exist.
Well, that's right. And that's what I did. I did confuse that a little bit. I said that and I shouldn't have.
Or probably don't exist.
All right, let me get this set up. And I will bring it into the screen here. We'll get going.
Hi, Newt.
Newt?
Yeah.
We're
watching Boone, and because it's the kids' anniversary, so they're up on the mountain. Right. They hiked into a lake yesterday evening, and we're watching the grandbaby, and we're watching the grand dogs. And my son named all of his animals after Lonesome Dove characters. So,
well, that's I understand.
he's got a Chesapeake Bay Retriever that is not the sharpest tool in the shed.
So that's Newt.
He's actually probably the dumbest animal I've ever met in my life.
Oh no!
But he's got a big heart. But his name is Newt.
That also because you can't get anybody to claim his dad being his daddy.
Yeah, I'm sure. Because his father in this case, Woodrow, is the mule that's always getting in the yard. So.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about him belonging to the same son.
Yeah, he's the same. He's in the same clan, and he's got Pi and Gus, and yeah, he's got a whole. He's got most of the characters.
Well, I guess that's good for him.
And then, of course, we got 411 dogs already, so we had to.
Right.
And you'd think you couldn't tell the difference, but it gets a little hectic.
Tina wants to know if in a few months there's another one on the way. That seems to be how it works in her family.
Well, not that I'm aware of yet, but there'd be.
This possibility does
They're
exist.
planning one more, I think. So it might be soon. It might have been made last night up on the mountain.
What mountain are they on?
Well, they're up on Commissary Ridge, and they hiked into a lake called Lake Alice. And
Well, you might have a baby girl named Alice. Then you never know.
well, if they have a baby girl, they're going to name her Absorka or Absoroka and call her Abby. But
that's not from Lonesome Dove, is it?
Which?
Absoroka or whatever how you pronounce.
No, it's an Indian. It's a crow.
I know what it
Indian.
is.
No, it's not from Lonesome Dove.
Okay, I was gonna say that ain't from Lonesome Dove.
And Boone's not either.
Or Spoon's not either. Yeah, that's true. That's true. So I think a week or two ago, Mike asked us a question about Bigfoot. So I meant to do this before and I forgot to. So we're going to talk about these crypto animals, or whatever you want to call them, and a little bit. And I don't have a lot of pictures, of course, because as we all know, there aren't a lot of pictures of these critters. In fact, I just now realized I might not have put any pictures of Bigfoot in here. I may have to go.
There's one right there.
Well, besides that one, and I mean, what a handsome lad that is.
That's because there are no photographs of Bigfoot.
Well, so you say. So we're going to discuss this. The definition of cryptid or cryptic is an animal. Well, cryptid, maybe this is the difference. Cryptid is an animal such as Sasquatch or the Loch Ness Monster that has been claimed to exist but never proven to exist, contrary to popular belief. Cryptids don't have to be supernatural, mythical, or even all that strange, though many popular creatures acquire these characteristics as the legends grow. And that was a quote or something. That definition was written by Haley Williams, apparently. So I went ahead and gave them credit for it. And then that link right there will get you some more proper information about these things. But I also wanted to put in there that as a discipline, and this discipline, what's Tina saying? I was talking birds and bee stuff. Oh, yeah, she was, Carol. So you might need to write her a hall pass for that. Oh, Tina says, yeah, that's what she was thinking, Mark. Anniversary trip without kids.
Yeah.
Inevitably resulted in an anniversary.
And another grandbaby.
That's a good point.
They already got 5 of them. might as well get 6 or 8 or 10.
Yeah, but they only got 1, so. Mike wants to point out again, I've seen this at least twice this morning. Bigfoot does exist. Brenda, can you find that?
Only up in Canada.
Well, that could be in Canada. Brenda, can you find that? Oh, I'll have to look for it unless you can send it to me. That thing we were listening to yesterday with the recording. However, if I can find it, Mark, I have a recording. If I can play it on the screen, I will. On the thing, I'd like for you to listen to it. I'm not going to tell you what it sounds like to me, but supposedly it's a Bigfoot. And
Carol's
saying?
For a minute, this crowd steps over the line.
Well, that's what happens when the teacher goes out of the room, Carol.
And squirrels Squirrels happen.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure when most of us, and I know when Mark and I were in classes, that always seemed to happen when the teacher left. But there actually is there's actually people out there who claim to be cryptozoologists. And as a discipline, cryptozoology had its roots in the 1950s. And that it was a Belgian scientist, and I won't be able to say this right, Bernard Evelmans, and a Scottish biologist and writer. There's the problem. Ivan T. Sanderson. They both had formal scientific degrees, but also found themselves fascinated with rare creatures and paranormal subjects. Sanderson even claimed to have been personally attacked by an Oleatu, which is a legendary giant bat with 12-foot wingspan, somewhere in Central Africa. So Bigfoot's not the only mystical creature out there. There's giant bats. Uh-oh. He doesn't like that discussion.
Grandma's over there beating him.
Oh, Brenda said that picture of Bigfoot looked like some university football player. So anyway, here's some common ones. I never heard of this one. Carol, you live up near Wisconsin. Have you ever heard of a hodag or hodig? Or I'm thinking hodag. Apparently, hodag rose up out of the ashes of cremated oxen. And now it's in Wisconsin. Let me point that out. Oh, Boone. Tina says Boone doesn't agree with me.
I think the cheese must have fermented or something for the hodag to come up out of the oxen.
Well, apparently it's risen from the oxen and stalks around avenging the abuse suffered at the hands of their master. So
why would you cremate an ox?
I don't know. But maybe they did that. Maybe they didn't save them burial time or something. So the moral of that story is if you better be treating your oxen teams well, everybody. If you're running oxen, you might better, behave, because this thing, I'm quite sure, even though it seems to be mostly around northern Wisconsin, I guess that is cheese country, isn't it?
Yeah.
You better, which also behooves the question, why would they be oxen? I mean, that's not, mostly up there's dairy cattle of various sorts. Okay, she sent me the podcast. What did you send it to my phone? If I can get that, I'll see if I can work on that here in a minute. I might have to let you run let you talk to people for a few minutes. But anyway, that's one of the many that are out there. So the whole world is just full of these things. And for example, another one is the Jersey Devil. And here's various images on the right of this thing. And it's supposedly been wandering the swamps. I wanted John to be in here. I don't know if he's in here right now or not. But I want to ask him if he's ever been chased by this thing.
Well, they caught it.
What?
They caught it according to that little ad.
Well, that little ad, yeah, but if it's like the ones I've seen in places like Ripley's, believe it or not, I think that leaves a bit to. I'm not sure that would pass close-up biological or scientific scrutiny. Captured Friday after a terrific struggle. I love that. It's a living dragon.
The Leeds Devil.
It swims, flies, and gallops. A 10-cent admission. I didn't realize they actually said they had one. I just saw that.
It's a living dragon. It says right there on it.
I see that. I don't know if it's supposed to breathe fire or not. I should have got Leanne Sherbert come in here. She's our resident Jersey Devil expert, but I figured John will know something about it. I think he's native New Jersey or whatever garden. ouch, 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 let go. Let go of my hand.
That
Ow.
was the Jersey Devil just grabbed a hold of your leg.
You got hold of my arm. The Jersey Devil just hooked me. Woo.
So she found this critter when she was expecting for the 13th time.
Well, wouldn't you find it too, Tina? What do you say about that? Too many. I think that's one too many anniversaries.
That had to be a prepartum something going on there.
And it turned out to be a baby devil, according to that.
And it's flew out into the swamp.
Yeah, and it's still there. Oh, he drew blood that time. That was a little hint to leave me alone. Carol, you need to talk to him about. Oh, we got them. Oh my goodness, we got a monarch in here. Which variety or subspecies of monarch do we have? I'm guessing it's Garrett, but I know Garrett doesn't like to get up
lives with monarch.
Huh?
Bigfoot lives with monarch.
Tina said 13, and she's talking about the 13 kids. She says, wow, that's a lot of anniversaries. It sure is, Tina. That's why you quit celebrating them after the first or second year, you know. Anyway, I know that Leanne's husband has a race car. He does drag racing. In fact, I think she's driven the car too. And the car is named the Jersey Devil. But anyway, it's supposed to live in southern New Jersey. That's why I need to find out if John's ever seen it. I suspect this is another one of those creatures, much like a wookalar, that shows itself most often in the presence of alcohol, but it doesn't say that.
The infamous web-footed wookalar.
Oh yeah, the web-footed wookalar. Yes, that's true. Here's a sheet of famous or one-time famous mythical creatures, cryptids. There's, Yeti or Bigfoot down in the corner, and I guess that's Nessie in the middle, and a jackalope. Now, I never considered a jackalope to be in this group, but I guess it would be. Now, I've seen jackalopes mounted in country stores and roadside gas stations, but I've never seen one in the wild running free. Now, you've seen more of them than I have. Have you run across one yet?
I mean, they live in Wyoming.
Oh.
And I used to do a monthly in our regional magazine or newsletter. I used to do a monthly deal on the critter corner, they called it.
Uh-huh.
And I'd give the information about a certain species. And in April one year, I did jackalopes.
Oh, okay.
And they only breed during lightning strikes.
Oh, really?
So it's the only time that they reproduce is during a lightning strike. Fortunately, we have a lot of lightning in Wyoming, so they're pretty common.
Okay. Have you ever bagged one yourself?
No.
Oh, okay. Do they have?
But I've seen a lot of them dead on walls.
Oh yeah, well that's where I've seen them. I've not seen them live.
It was a gentleman in Douglas, Wyoming, that invented that critter.
Oh, was it really?
He was a taxidermist in Douglas, and he started putting little deer antlers on jackrabbits and selling them to tourists, and there you go.
And the legend began. So you said a taxidermist? That's a sheep herder, right?
No, he was a taxidermist.
Oh, you don't remember that joke?
I remember the joke.
Oh, you mean a sheep herder? I'd tell that joke, Tina, but I would need probably a permission slip to tell it.
You would.
I mean, we're all adults here and all, but I'd still probably need a special. Did you see Ian's comment? Now, this would only come from a Coloradoan. He said
We had a big storm last night. Baby jackalopes are on the way.
He also said that you need special brownies to probably see those kind of things after eating special brownies.
Well, that front range of Colorado is perfect jackalope habitat.
And Garrett's allowing us these things. It's got to be Garrett. Michelle wouldn't say this. And said that's the first time your spouse farts on you. You might have to stand in the corner, Garrett. Carol runs a tight ship here. There's Space Mountain Dave Contrell. Welcome in, Dave. We're talking about cryptoids, cryptids, mythological creatures. But here's one thing I will say, and this is true about some of these creatures. And the one on the right is a giant squid, which at one time was, it
was considered a cryptid for a long time till they actually found it.
Yeah, they first started seeing them washed up on shore. They're only in the Pacific, I think, aren't they? But the main thing is they're very deep. And that's one reason why we didn't see them for a long time. But those guys have actually been proven to be real.
They photographed them now live.
Yeah, well, yeah, now. But
which is really cool.
Yeah, but the first ones I remember were on the beach. And another reason they suspected they existed was back during the early whaling days when the sailors left Nantucket and went out and whaled harpoon like sperm whale, which happened to feed at very deep, very great depths in the ocean. Sometimes they would catch them and they would have like sucker print marks all around their heads because these things would attack them. And that was another reason they thought there was such a scene. What are you grabbing me for now? I hope that's an apology. Let me turn you back around. I'll put you in the corner. Nobody puts Teddy in the corner. Ian says his son, and I think walls are mythological. Big debate in my house. Oh, they're real.
That's a real honest to God critter there.
I think that's where the mythology of the unicorn came from, however. And I believe it was Viking culture. The narwhal's tusk had great mythical powers. Hey, Laurie Jean, welcome in.
So dugongs or manatees they thought were mermaids.
Yeah, but boy, did that take a lot of rum to get to that point.
Yeah. What is that critter down there at the bottom next to Bigfoot?
Oh, this one right here?
Yeah, that little skin-headed looking thing.
Looks like it says, I can't hardly read that one. It's covered up by this mythological. I believe it says the Dover Demon. And we got a Kongamato up here.
When you were talking about the big bat earlier, I was thinking about Rancid Crabtree floating down through Chicken Out Rapids with the killer bat.
That's a whole nother story. I need to read that.
You have read that story.
Yes, I have, but I need to read it on here. I have to go here and remember which book it's in. Yes, I have read it.
I think it's either They Shoot Canoes, Don't They, or A Fine and Pleasant Misery. One of those two, I think.
Yeah, I was thinking They Shoot Canoes, so I might look in that in a minute and see. Ian said that's a lot of rum and murky waters, he thinks. I think you're right, Ian. That's what I believe. And Monarch Moment says, in a big emoji smile to everyone. Answer me a question, Monarch Garrett. Are you guys going out of town again today? So anyway, I think this is a terrible depiction over here on the left center of a thunderbird. However, that looks more like a
Condor.
condor. Yeah, the tuft of hair around its neck, or not hair, feathers around its neck, and that doesn't look anything like a thunderbird. I had some pictures of thunderbirds, and I didn't put them in here. And this gator-looking thing might very well be another species that was found. Oh, and there's a chupacabra, but that doesn't look anything like I've heard they were look like.
Well, what they look like, because it's what they are coyotes with a really, really, really bad case of mange.
Which does happen out there.
Where they literally don't have any hair on them at all. And they're pretty gross looking, and that's a chupacabra.
And they survive that way?
That not very long.
I didn't think so.
We have mange that goes through coyotes even up here, and they're a sorry being when it gets cold and they've got no hair.
I bet. Okay. Oh, Ian's read Pat McManus. Good for you, Ian. Well, you just went way up in the Tim and Mark scorecard. Everybody should read some Pat McManus once in a while. If that won't make you laugh, you ain't never been out in the woods. So here's some other mythological creatures that actually did turn out to be true. The capybara or not capybara,
Okapi.
Capybara. The okapi was thought to be mythical, and then they found some in the jungle forest of wherever they're at.
They're in Africa.
They're African, aren't they?
Yeah, so there's two. They're a giraffid.
Yeah, they're in that same family. They just got, well, maybe that's a short neck giraffe, and I won't go any deeper into that.
Yeah, I mean, that's them. They're giraffes, and it's funny because, I mean, this is totally a squirrel, but our American pronghorn, the closest living relative to that beast are giraffids. And it was a long, long time ago when they separated, but they're not related to deer or sheep or
I knew that.
Antelope, or people call them antelope, but they're not antelope. So
Oh, Ian said his library had Pat McManus books in northern Idaho. Well, good for them, and good for you for reading them. Man, those are great books. Every young person ought to read some Pat McManus and take it to heart, because I think you'd grow up a whole lot better.
There's a lot of wisdom in a Pat McManus book.
Yeah, there is. There sure is. And of course, in the middle there, we got a great ape, or gorilla, actually. And I don't know when I didn't write down when they were actually proven that they existed. I'm sure it was in the late part of the last century, or the 19th century, 1800s, I think. But it could have been the early 1900s. And I'm sure, I was trying to think if the King Kong legend stories came out before, if that was just a legend until they actually found these guys. But that's one that proved to be true. And then up in the right-hand corner may be what those other creatures were, which is the Komodo dragon, which we know is the real thing too. And that's one of the few. That's an animal that
big nasty lizard
that on dry ground actually scares the crap out of me. I think I'd rather face a grizzly bear. They just got nasty bites. They don't use venom so much as they use bacteria.
Yeah.
And once they bite you, they'll just let you go off and die and suffer for a week or two and then eat you. I've read stories about cattle. They'll bite a cow or something on the leg.
Yeah, buffalo even.
Or buffalo, yeah, and water buffalo or whatever, and they'll just let it go, but they'll follow its trail, and eventually that leg will get infected and cause gangrene or whatever. It'll die, and they'll get it.
Or they'll eat it when it's half dead.
Or yeah, they'll eat it when it's half dead. But they let that bacteria do its job, which is just a horrible thought. Ending. I wouldn't want to go that way. That's a slow way to die. And I can't remember the name of this critter up here. He looks kind of like a koala, but he's not actually a koala. But he was another one of those critters they didn't think existed.
I think it's a tree kangaroo. I think
maybe it is a tree kangaroo. I can't remember the actual name of it.
Maybe.
Even the kangaroo itself people didn't believe it existed for a long time. I mean, even the Aussies probably talked about them and nobody believed them because they figured they were just drinking too much. I mean, after all, they were just crooks and criminals sent down there to the penal colony. And of course, a whole bunch of Celtic people just shipped out of England, out of Great Britain. Yeah, down to Australia.
Oh, you don't agree with our way of managing your people, so we're going to send you down south.
Yeah, way down south. And of course, the platypus. Who would have ever believed that thing was real? And they for a long time, when they did actually bring some up for scientists to look at, they thought they were fake then. Till they actually got one and were able to realize that nobody could, sew that good or whatever. They finally realized that this is a real critter.
A venomous beaver with a duck bill
that lays
eggs.
It's what a crazy animal that is.
Come here. Oh
my goodness.
What are you doing? What is that?
Grab that beard.
Oh, look, there's Boudreaux. Boudreaux's getting your feet.
Uh-oh, Boudreaux. He and Boudreaux about the same age, aren't they?
See that kangaroo? That cool critter.
Ian says the platypus is a junk drawer looking animal.
That's like a Coati-Mundi. They look like God's spare part animal.
I've always heard that's how a platypus came to be. They were leftover parts. And, but you get down into that part of the world, there's a lot of strange animals, really. And then, we got the Loch Ness Monster. Everybody knows about Nessie, but this is a similar beast that's supposed to be in Japan that I hadn't heard of. But
there's a skunk ape.
But there's also, all kinds of other ones. Isn't there one in the Great Lakes too? Carol's not in here. She might remember. Oh crap! There's one that's fairly famous, but I can't remember its name. It's might be in the central part of the country or northeast. Yeah, the famous skunk ape, which I've actually been told we have here. A few years ago, we supposedly had one in a town up on the reservoir I managed, and all the local people told us stories. They even got in the newspaper and told stories about the skunk ape, and they could smell it, because it smelled like a skunk. And but it ate their cats, and chased off the dogs and made the dogs bark and howl. But nobody ever got a picture of it. Nobody ever seen it, even in that tight-knit community. But that's what it's supposed to look like. And I guess the most famous one, I don't have pictures of the Bigfoot, actually. That's something I forgot to put in here. But the Loch Ness Monster, which has got so many tales involved with it. But one of the interesting things I found, if it's true, of course, I believe this one has been proven true. This photo up here in the top was actually this also in the left center, and which was this thing right here. It was made out of, it was a model made out of wood and plastic, and they had a remote control submarine on the bottom of it, and that's how they moved it around the lake. And they would only get it out there at certain times of the year or at certain times of day or night, so you couldn't see it that well. And it always looked like it was off in a distance, and it was the guy that did that admitted it when he was like in his 70s or something. He admitted he had built it and floated it around. So who knows what to believe about Nessie. I don't think Nessie's this kind of creature. For all I know, Nessie might be some sea creature that comes in there once in a while. I mean, Loch Ness may be connected to one of the oceans for all I know. Underground, that part of the world's probably full of holes like this part of the country is, caves and tunnels, and connections to the sea wouldn't be that necessarily that unheard of. And it could just be a whale or something in there from time to time. But I don't think a creature like this personally would survive that many millions of years alive in one little lake in little old Scotland. I mean, there'd have to be several of them to reproduce and have offspring, and because I don't believe one could live for that many millions of years or thousands of years, whatever. But that's just my opinion. Yeah, old copies do kind of have that spare parts look too, and they've got I think they've got the false horns like a kangaroo. They've got a prehensile tongue like, not a kangaroo, sorry, a giraffe. They've got a prehensile tongue like a giraffe. They've got stripes like a zebra in some places. Well, Carol, it can be real. I mean, it can be real if you want it to be, and I think that's one thing about all these creatures. And Mark's not in here to agree or disagree, but I think some of these creatures continue to exist because we do want them to be real. Yeah, Tina, good point. If sailors used to think mermaids were real, manatees were mermaids, then just about anything's possible. And I agree. I never could figure out how people, made that mistake, but that's what they claim. What else did I see? Carol said she would like to have Nessie be real, though, she thinks. So I told her that was it's kind of up to her. And I was, Mark, while you were gone, I was saying that, I think a lot of these creatures exist, at least in our minds, because we want them to. I think to some degree, we still need that in our mythology.
We need some unknowns still.
We need some unknowns. We don't feel like we want to know everything. And maybe that's also part of the adventure or the thrill of possibly discovering something like that, being the one or finally finding something, knowing that we've not really conquered the whole planet. So, I mean, I think that has value, actually. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, I mean, we want to think that there's hidden corners out there that cool stuff lives that we don't know anything about.
And there are people,
and there are a lot of corners left out there that cool stuff lives in that we don't know anything about.
I just think and I agree. I think there are a lot of things we've not discovered. I think as you and I
just look at insects for pity's sake. They find new species every day.
Yeah, I've known people that go to the Amazon area, the jungles, and collect insects and bring them home by the basket loads just to look through them, and they almost find something new every time they do that. They'll put traps below trees or shake out trees into nets, and they'll collect all that and bring them home and look at them under microscopes, and they figure out that they find all kinds of bugs that they never knew existed. So I believe there are creatures out there we don't know. I just don't believe they're all necessarily as big as Nessie or Bigfoot or some of those things.
Well, and there might be some of them down in the deepest dark.
Well, maybe there are. Well, now the ocean, yeah. Now
that's what I'm talking
yeah.
about.
Now down in the deepest part of the ocean, people think, no,
Newt, you're an idiot.
We've still. I think this is still true. Now this may be changing because we are learning how to get down there and explore things, but we've spent far less time exploring the bottom of the ocean than we have outer space, which is a hell of a statement when you think about it, because it doesn't feel like we've explored much space. So we've not really explored the bottom of the oceans.
Hey, yeah, Teddy. I mean, we've had people in space 100-fold more days than we have at the bottom of the ocean.
Which is amazing to me.
I'm going to send you outside and close the gate.
Well, except for I'm going to go get the mail.
Hey, Teddy. Hey, buddy. Look here. He's awake. No, you want to say hi to Miss Carol? She's here. So and Tina's here. And Ian's here. And that guy from Canada's here. He wanted to know about donuts, Mike. Do you have any cat donuts? He asked me that last week. And I forgot to bring it up. one of Tina's hounds just Mark's not in here. He's dog wrangling or kid wrangling one. Come back around here so everybody can see you. Stand up big and tall. There you go. You got anything you want to say to anybody today? Oh, we can't talk about that. Cat treats, absolutely. Mike said they make cat treat donuts. You interested? Oh yeah, he would be interested in that, Mike. He is a treat fiend. He's spoiled too because Brenda, she started giving them a treat like every night at bedtime, and now they line up at a certain time of night. They start lining up for their treat. I was. You see what Tina said there when you're young and barked. She said Morgan stopped dead in his tracks when he heard the dog bark at your house, Boudreaux or whoever it was.
That was Newt. Yeah. I heard a dog bark in the background. I'm like, you don't have a dog. I thought I heard a dog bark in the background.
That was me. I'm just making that noise.
It was a good imitation.
Mike says some of his dogs won't go to bed until they've had their snack. That sounds like me. So now I've got something. We can keep talking about crypto animals here in a minute, but I got like something else. Like dogs. But I have something else, something completely different that I'm watching the space shot. I'm trying to make sure I don't miss the space shot today. If they go. I was thinking about that and I thought, man, I just stumbled across a picture and then I thought, well, I need to throw some of these in there. So bear with me as I explore the universe here for a moment. The new Webb telescope is really starting to bring in some new images. And I'm not sure this one says Webb, but this could even be the older ones because Webb is getting so much closer, like up here in the top corner that what do they call that? I mean, look at that thing is full of little universes or little galaxies or whatever you call different clusters of planets and suns. They gave the number of this when I read about this last week and how many planets are within that spiral and, how many suns are in there and how many things are, revolving around suns much like us. Webb has opened our eyes to so much more than we ever saw out there. And some of these photographs are just amazing.
And they can't tell me there's nothing living out there.
Oh, there can't be that many Earth-like planets.
Billions and billions and billions of planets.
Yeah, I agree. I do too, Carol. I think it's great. I mean, when I was a kid, we were excited about space. Of course, it was really new back then, and some kids, I think, take it for granted more now, or some people, because we've had so many shows about space travel and things like that. But when you really get started, now that they've got some activity going, and we might go back to the moon or Mars or wherever we end up, it's amazing. And this telescope has just brought back some amazing photographs. I mean, here's some
look at that,
good pictures of Jupiter, and I may have another one of Jupiter here in a minute. I think there's a better one, but they've been able now to kind of see where this storm is in the atmosphere of Jupiter, and know kind of how high above the surface it is. And I mean, can you imagine something like that? That has been there for as long as we've been able to see that planet. And then you got all these little galaxies and suns, and
wow.
And they're all kinds of shapes. Of course, some of this is because they're rotating, I guess, around where Hubble was, or not Hubble, Webb, the Webb scope was pointing. But, I went out to visit Mark in Wyoming one time, or a couple of times, but we were out in the mountains in the middle of nowhere, no low light pollution. And I stepped out of the tent one night and looked up, and it nearly knocked me down. The stars were so bright and so many and so big, because I'd forgotten how that looked. I mean, you can't see that here anymore. I mean, if you don't get far away from a city or something, light pollution just really dulls the night sky. But when you get out somewhere where it's very dark and you can really see stars, the sky still absolutely fascinates me. And just what all's up there. And I'll never forget that guy taking you and I to that into that observatory and opening up that telescope at Land Between the Lakes and letting us look that time.
Yeah.
Up there when you were working up there. Wow, that was a big telescope to me, but small by other standards. But we could still see things that I could never imagine seeing. I mean, it was.
There's a big one in Flagstaff, Arizona that's cool to visit too. And I mean, you can go in there in the daytime and see stuff out in space,
Wow.
It's just cool.
That would be cool. Did they let you look, or is it projected somehow?
They got it. That you're not looking through the actual optic. It's projected. I mean,
still
it's
cool.
But they move it and change the angle of it, and you get to see different views, and it's pretty cool.
I don't know how many have ever been to a decent observatory, or not planetarium, but I can only imagine what images like this will do for planetariums who have good projection systems and can project all that stuff, up into a whatever they call a semicircle screen, and it'd be fantastic. I've not been to a good planetarium in a long time, but I can remember going to one somewhere. It might have been at East Tennessee State University, and it was just amazing. For me, it was amazing anyway. Ian says they have a cool telescope at Rehoboth Christian School outside of Gallup, New Mexico.
Yeah.
High altitude and clear skies. Yeah, I bet that is, Ian. That'd be kind of like going to Hawaii if our friend in Hawaii was here. Oh, come on, brain.
Come on, old man.
Elena was here. The one out in Hawaii on top of Keck, I think it's Keck. No, it's the Keck Observatory. I don't know what the name of the mountain is. Where they've got clear skies and no up above the light pollution. They say that one gets some very amazing photos. Yeah, I know Tina. She should be, Tina. I'm sure she was up late compared to us at least. They're 6 hours behind us, so she deserves to be sleeping in.
Francisco at Disneyland.
Oh, it's that. Well, maybe he is. Unless Garrett and them are from there. They may be down there again this weekend. I'm not sure.
I bet it's a screamer. It's hot. It's hot in Wyoming right now. I bet.
Yeah, it's hot south of you everywhere.
We've been 90 the last few days,
and that's terrible. How bad? What's the humidity been like?
And I live at 7,000 feet. It should never get that hot here. It's about 17%.
Oh, Tina says it's not even 6 a.m. out there yet, and she knows Elena was up at least until 1:30 this morning. Oh my! Who was she up? Whose chat was she in last night at 1:30 her time? Garrett, were you keeping people up all night? Sometimes Garrett does late night shows that start about midnight his time in California. I woke up the other morning and it was like 5 a.m. and he was still on. Ian's also saying Calvin University, Michigan has a remote telescope. Oh, and they project images.
That's cool.
I guess you can either enjoy that space or you don't care. It's just too remote to get excited about. But it to me, it's very exciting. I only have a couple more of these pictures, so if I'm putting you to sleep, Ian, just hang on. Bear with me a minute. I am going to find that. Look at that. Yeah, I know. And I don't know. I didn't get all these. I just took images of them. These were all off one of the NASA sites, I think, and
there's some major violence going on in that photo.
Boy, howdy! I mean, look at that. And I don't know if that might be part of what they used to call the Horsehead Nebula, or if this is something entirely new they've discovered via Webb. But that just looks like dirt and dust and explosions. And
explosions are going on.
I guess I'm going to guess that planets, stars, whatever inside that mass are being both created and destroyed, probably all at the same time.
That's wild.
It is wild. That's just amazing. Oops, back up. So anyway, and here's just a few more things we're going to get to and be able to see and do more with. And some of them are just downright beautiful pictures. The color and everything is just phenomenal. It's just amazing. Some of these
they almost look like some of those galaxies or nebulas or whatever they are look like some of the creatures that live deep in the ocean. Like that picture over on the right there is looks like one of those see-through jellies with the lights in them, and
bioluminescence down in the ocean. Yeah, they do. Oops. And I guess that's the end. Well, guys, I hope that wasn't too boring. And we can keep talking about crypto animals for a few minutes, but I do want to try to find this Tim. Oh, well, maybe I saved it. I don't know if I saved that or not. Man, I hope I just asked me that. I hope it was saved. Oh, I got to do it over here first. Sorry. Let me see if I can. Well, Mark I don't know if you can see the chat, but if you can answer, talk to people a minute.
What am I talking about? Well, I can tell a story about we have a Wyoming was kind of a leader in building underpasses for migrating wildlife, big game animals. And we would fence a highway where we were getting a lot of roadkill. We had a stretch of highway where we would get 600 mule deer killed a year.
Wow.
And so we fenced that whole stretch of highway where they migrated through and built underpasses so they could go under there. And the University of Wyoming set up cameras on all those boxes, those underpasses, to see if we could use that as a method of counting deer, basically getting a population estimate. And myself and the local wildlife biologist, we were searching real hard for a Yeti costume, a Bigfoot costume. I was going to put the costume on and walk through the box, kind of in the way that one photograph's always done, and just pause and look at the camera and then walk off and then never say anything about it and see if we got reports of that from the university. Because we got a lot of truck drivers doing inappropriate things and that kind of stuff, But yeah, it was.
Can
fun.
you hear me?
I hear you.
Yeah, okay. I had it muted because I was trying to find this. Go ahead. I was listening, but I was laughing about what you were saying about the costume.
But we couldn't find a good one. We found some gorilla suits, but they didn't look right.
An interesting thing, if anybody ever actually found the person that makes and sells good Bigfoot costumes, you might solve the whole mystery right there.
We have people all over this part of Wyoming that in the mountainous part of Wyoming that sell great big steel cutouts that you can put in your yard. Big silhouettes of Bigfoot, Where'd you go?
I'm trying to find that video or that tape. Hang on.
He said,
"Can you hear that at all?"
I can see, footprints and follow the animals. Like he's that level of hunter. And he's in the woods with his.
Okay, I'm going to try to set this up to work, and I found it. I'm going to see if I can share this and see if it'll play better over the speakers. So bear with me again.
No pun intended.
No pun. Well, maybe there's a pun intended. Okay, now tell me if you can hear this.
I can't hear anything, dude.
That's a choice when you're going hunting, but these are.
That's exactly what I was just thinking, and I almost said the words.
Okay, can you hear them talking?
Sort of.
Ian says the school. Well, Mark and I both have probably been involved in some of this kind of work. School where his wife works has the cutouts for animals to scare geese. The geese are not phased. No, they're not. At least not past the first time they fly over them. Okay, well, I paused it again. You can't, John, you missed us talking about the Jersey Devil, so don't go away. I got to ask you about that again. So I'm going to turn this back on.
On?
John's here now. Mark, you couldn't hear this at all?
Well, remember I discharged a firearm in a close confined spot the other day, and I'm not hearing a lot of nothing anymore, but there you go.
Well, I wanted to see if you could hear this Bigfoot call because it's important. Well, important to me.
Play it.
All right, here goes.
Exactly. I was like, that's a choice.
Yeah, but these are like lifelong hunters from a community and a culture of lifelong hunters. So he's out there, and they go throughout the day. I believe he told me they were hunting for grouse, which I may be pronouncing wrong. It's a
Grouse.
type of bird. But
They were hunting for what?
wrapping up their hunting for the day and then traveling back to their vehicle. And that's kind of when this
He said grouse. He meant grouse. He didn't know how to pronounce grouse. We have to forgive that part. And he is a Canadian, by the way.
Yeah, but they know how to say grouse.
He should, but he says the boot. He says boot and stuff, so I'm pretty sure he's Canadian. Anyway, here goes.
video/audio I'm going to play you takes place as they're walking back. He told me they could smell something really obscene, something that stood out as very stinky. That was the first sign.
One of those too.
Yeah, that was the first sign something weird was happening. The next is complete silence in the woods. No more birds chirping or whatever you would hear. No more anything, just complete silence. And then what he starts to hear is the sound of something unlike anything he's ever heard before, screaming or crying out or just simply roaring. Again, I back this story up a lot by describing how comfortable and confident and experienced he is in the woods. He's like, this is unlike anything I've ever heard. As such, he hits record on his phone, and this is what he records. And now you tell
I'm
me,
so scared. Literally, I'm terrified.
you tell me if this is anything other than a GD Sasquatch. That's the grandchild.
I'm so mad. Oh, same little dude, same.
Okay, could you hear that at all?
What, the low one or the squeaky, high pitched stuff?
No, it was more of a low tone, actually.
That kind of, oh,
Yeah.
it's probably cow moose calling.
Well, now that's a good thought. Sounds. Mike says it sounds like taking a big pee. And maybe he's got a problem.
What did you think it was?
I thought if you really listen to it, and maybe you can listen to it. I'll send it to you. Maybe you can listen to it later, just straight on your computer on headphones. I think to me it sounded like a distant turkey call, a gobbler call, or maybe somebody shaking one of those tubes. And because when it first starts, it's almost like you can hear it go gobble, gobble, and that, you know how they start out when they gobble off in the distance.
Yeah.
To me, that's what it sounded like. Brenda thought that she didn't think so, and you might be. I think you're probably closer to right. It's probably
but I mean, it doesn't sound quite like a cow moose, but it sounds like they messed around with the sound.
Well, they could have, and that's the thing about these crypto creatures. I mean, I like your picture there, Ian. Is that new? I don't remember seeing that.
I don't. I've decided that Ian's not right in the head, and he fits right in with this bunch.
Yes, he does. He's a charter member without a doubt. Oh, Garrett says, sounds like me when Michelle irritates me or after a meal she's cooked for him. We won't tell her you said that. I agree, Tina. Tina says, yes, he might be Canadian, but that doesn't that doesn't mean he shouldn't know how to say grouse. I agree, Tina. When he said grouse, I just about fell out in the car. I told Brenda, I said, oh my God.
They were grouse. Huh? They were hunting krauts.
Brenda said, well, maybe they were hunting Allison Krause. Well, maybe so. But what I think is really funny about it is what they say. Why is that screen? Oh, dang, I froze it. I'm behind now on that screen. What I thought was funny was how they all decided, well, that sounds just like a Bigfoot. How do they know what a Bigfoot sounds like? Why is that still popping up over there? Oh,
Well, we were talking about that show that they had on the Discovery Channel or whatever. Those boys from West Virginia or whatever that were hunting Bigfoot, Kentucky, maybe our people's country.
yeah,
and they've figured out how to make a bunch of money being idiots on the TV.
absolutely. And it's
And they make calls. They call to them all the time, and there'll be another guy over on the other edge calling back. I just think it's hilarious.
hang on just a minute. I think I've got one more thing for you here. Oh yes, this is him. Let me
I know it's there.
Tim Peeler swears he.
okay. Now this is a newscast. I don't know if this is there's a couple of these. This might not be might be a better one than I need to play, but this is a newscast that actually ran on a North Carolina television station in 2010. And we found this we found this at work one day, or somebody sent it to us because they wanted to know if we'd ever run into it. But watch this guy. Let me see if I can get him to pop up here. And listen to his story. Don't be judging by image alone.
I know it's there.
Tim Peeler swears he had an encounter with one of the very beast in history, Bigfoot.
Well, he was what I would call a Sasquatch.
Can you hear?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Peeler says there's no film of his recent sighting because he was too nervous to go for his camera. But he says Bigfoot walked right by him.
Of course
He had
he was.
gray hair and a gray beard that come down to here. Well, he had long hair that was yellowish gray.
He says he spotted the creature one night when he was startled by his dog's barking, and he peered out the window, and there it was.
I talked rough to him and run him off. And he come right by me. He wasn't 10 foot from me. He went back out that path.
Peeler vows to get proof next time.
Seeing is believing. So I'll try to get him on film.
A St. Louis University biology professor says there have been more than 2,500 Bigfoot sightings in the past 100 years in every state and parts of Canada. Myra Lopez, The Associated Press.
Is that his call?
I guess so. Did you see that camera he had? Anybody besides me see that camera? That was a 110 Instamatic camera. I bet you can't find one of those in the lower 40.
A 110 Instamatic with the shell taken off it.
You can't, I mean, there can't be another one of those around anywhere. Oh my God. Hang on. I think there's actually a better one. He did this. A man actually went out there. It was more like no, that's not it. I don't think. Oh, that might be it.
He was making a photograph of it right there.
He was drawing it. I know. That's not him. See, there's one by North Carolina Lake. That's probably our lake.
Spotted Bigfoot in Cleveland County, and this isn't the first time. The legend continues. One man in Kaiser says he encountered the mythic beast just last week.
You know, it has been years since deputies in Cleveland County have heard stories like this, and News 11 Ann Sheridan goes in search of the real Bigfoot story.
I tried to call him.
Tim Peeler thought he was calling coyotes.
Instead of them, him.
He got something.
Instead of them, him.
Playing Mountain Man.
This thing was 10 foot tall. He had beautiful hair. It scared me.
Sergeant Mark Self, as a Cleveland County deputy, didn't see the creature this time.
There was a 8 to 10 foot hairy man looking person.
But remembers the stories of a Sasquatch when he was a kid.
Was killing some animals, breaking in chicken houses, killing chickens.
It's the same MO that Tim says he saw for himself. The Sasquatch going after his dogs.
I come out here.
And a 50-gallon drum in the yard.
Got him to leave, called 911, then the creature came back.
And I said, get away from here. Get. And he went right back at that path again.
Deputies filed a suspicious person report and Tim is still recalling the details.
It looked like he had 6 fingers on each hand.
But even though sworn servant
Which is not necessarily uncommon in those parts of Carolina. Mike.
No.
are left manning up, at least for the cameras.
Doesn't bother me now. I don't think there's anything to it.
In Cleveland County and Sheridan, News Channel 36.
By the way, the legend.
So there's another guy, and I can't.
Ian wants to start a fan club for that guy.
Yeah, we should. That's a good idea, Ian. We might have to start a beer fund for him too, I think. There's a guy that actually did like a documentary filming of that, and he went out there and talked to that guy for a long time, and he went over a lot more detail than he did right there. And that's what I was really looking for, because it had, like I said, it had a lot more detail.
Well, it's unfortunate, but we both have relatives that look just like that guy and live in that exact same structure.
They do, in that yard, and everything about that looked
my first cousin lives exactly like that.
That's yeah. That's why when I grew up and got out and learned that kind of thing was generally meant poverty, I didn't understand, because I grew up with that, you know.
Yeah.
But that was just one.
I'll guarantee you he's got it still going, Ian.
Yeah, I'm thinking he tests it way too often.
I would guarantee you. It's right over there behind them dog crates, all those 50-gallon drums.
He's got, he didn't show all his dogs real close, but he had a couple of real small dogs. I would say feist dogs, but they were more like Chihuahuas. And that's what he said they were trying to get to. I know. He said in the longer video, he states that one of his little dogs was in heat, and he thought he was after him for that. And maybe that was what drew him in. Tina said nothing wrong with that, but it doesn't give his testimony more weight. I mean, if you can't believe that guy, who can you believe? Carol said she's willing to join.
So that was
I need to get his name. Well, I'll have to dig into that a little deeper.
That was in 2010.
That was in 2010, which is probably about when we found it at work. Somebody sent it to us at work, and little dog Sasquatch hybrid. That's what he was afraid of, Ian. But he goes into a lot. He goes out there in the woods with his stick, and he points up and he says, "See that limb, right there?" And he reaches way up high, and he said his head touched that limb right there, and those leaves in that tree, and which was 10 feet up above him. And then he went. He said he walked around here, and he said, and he come back. He come back 2 nights, I think, and according to him, and he got in more detail about his long. I don't know if you caught this or not, but he said
beautiful long blonde hair.
Beautiful hair. Beautiful hair. Oh God. Yes, and 6 fingers. I mean, certain parts of the Appalachians, that's not that unusual, I'm afraid. But he didn't leave any fur on and he didn't leave any fur on the branches. And that is kind of weird when you think Diana says she can't stop laughing.
You're killing me.
You all are killing me. Well, good. That's what we got to kill once in a while.
Oh,
That was one, but we I'm gonna have to admit this. This will be on my list of bad deeds, I guess, when I get to the pearly gates. We laughed at that guy until we cried, and I mean, because like I said, and you see it's a hereditary trait. Yes, Tina, I'm afraid it is, especially when your family tree don't branch too far. And that should
your family tree is a stick.
It's a stick. Yeah. It looks like one of them poplars, it grows straight up and just has
it goes and goes.
Send us that by IG. I'll do that, Ian. I'll tell you what I'll do, guys. I'll put the link to that on my Saturday Morning Shine website or chat room or whatever you call it on Instagram. I will do that. I'll try to find the other one too, because the other one the guy that goes out and does the second one is not in a hurry. He's taking his time. He's talking to this guy. He kind of builds up a rapport. He's not just a news reporter, out there for a soundbite. He actually talks to this guy for a little while, and you get to know him a little bit better. I'm afraid it won't change your opinion of him, but
that poor officer that had to report to that, he probably lost promotions over that.
Hey, well, that might explain why he's patrolling that part of the county.
he ain't ever gonna be nothing. He ain't never gonna get to be nothing.
No, he'll never make sergeant that way.
Officer Bigfoot.
Yeah, Tina, it's straight when your family tree don't branch, it just looks like a stick. Oh gosh. But that's just one example of how we deal with crypto animals in this country, or at least how some people do. Same thing kind of happened here a few years ago up in Campbell County, where I did a lot of my work. Bear in mind now that for a long time, Campbell County set, like, at least the state of Tennessee record for the most meth labs discovered in the state, which was not really something you want to be proud of. But so you have to understand this was coming from that part of the world. But they had the skunk ape, or the skunk ape, and it was taking cats. And the news people actually went up there and stuck microphones in faces of little old country women and others with that probably dipped snuff, and they talked about it, how it was eating their cats, and they smelled it at night, it was scary and all that. And they actually put that on the news here. So you really just don't ever know. Tina says, I think it's a worldwide entertainment genre. I think you're probably right, Tina. I think you're probably right. But we got a lot of laughs. That got a lot of, we got a lot of, how would you put that? It's sort of a relief thing,
You want me to take him?
Oh crap! What would they call that? A work related relief? Help you at work, stress relief or whatever while at work.
Who's launching today?
Artemis. They're supposed to launch the Artemis today, and that's going to be the next moon rocket.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to have gone up Monday, I think, and they
where are they launching from?
Florida.
Okay.
They're back on. I think they're on 39. I think they're launching from the same site that the Saturns went up from, Saturn V's. Now, I don't think anything's been launched there since that program ended. The shuttles actually went up on a different pad, and But this thing's supposed to be even bigger
Uh-oh.
than Saturn V's. What?
Jonathan said that the launch was canceled.
Oh no. Well, I haven't been listening. They are talking about doing an interview with somebody. They were having a leak problem they were trying to fix, but they thought they might have had it fixed. I guess they didn't. Hey, Jonathan, I didn't even see you in the room, buddy. Welcome.
Another leak of some kind. Yep.
Sorry, Ian. I need to pronounce my words better. Oh, he went to see it and he's not streaming. Well, I'm gonna stay tuned until I find out for sure. Wait a minute, I actually had it pulled up here on the NASA site. Yeah, I might have closed that one already. Nobody commented on my name today. Mark surely knows what that is.
Bjorning?
Yeah.
Bearing bear?
Bjorning bear, I put. You know what the Bjorning people? You don't remember that? That's
Yeah, I know. Bjorn from The Hobbit?
Yes.
Yeah, I know Bjorn.
Well, the Bjorning men or people were other people.
They were shapeshifters. They changed into bears.
Yeah, I think some people have called them werebears, like werewolves, but there weren't. And then some people have called. I think Tolkien explained them as. He didn't call them shapeshifters, but he called them skin changers or something like, or not skin walkers. He called them skin changers or something like that in some explanation he made one time.
And Bjorn is a Viking word for bear.
Well, I thought it was.
And we had a black bear biologist here in Wyoming. His name was Dan Bjornley.
Really?
I told him he had the best bear biologist name ever.
Okay, what's Ian saying here? May have forgotten to chat about what my name. I probably did. Oh, Ian said he Googled it. Garrett's leaving. Where did Garrett leaving at? What did he say? I didn't see him going. I'm sorry. So they are traveling.
Rescheduled for
September 5. Here. Have a happy Saturday, everybody. Thanks, guys, for the stream. I assume they're traveling because their stream said something about life in Disney World for a parade tomorrow night, I think. September 5th. Okay, John, that's interesting. Well, that's not too far off. Well, that's Monday. That's Monday again. Okay. I'll be watching that. John, you weren't here earlier when we were talking about the New Jersey Devil. Do you know any stories about the Jersey Devil? I think you're from that part of Jersey, aren't you? Southern Jersey? It could be a Pine Barrens thing. I don't know.
I think he said he'd never run into it, but it was about 15 miles from his house.
Oh, okay. I missed that. Sorry. Well, that's good to know. Didn't get you though, John. That's the best part. Well, guys, it's about noon, and my voice is starting to go. So we may have crypted ourselves right out of the. Man, I wish I could find that one last video.
Well, send it to us when
I'm going to send you that.
Send me that link of that noise thing too.
I'm going to send you that too, and I'll let me write this down. It's a podcast. It's 2 hours long, the whole thing. So I'm going to write down where this is at on the timeline. If I can find my notepad, where did I put my notepad? Obviously not where I can note on it. Shut up. You hush.
I've got a Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation one right here in my hand if you need it.
Write this down for me.
I'll just beam this over to you.
Just 1 minute. I'll be right back. Ah, what are you laughing at?
I'm just laughing at the noise.
Me and my bones. I should have muted it. Okay. I'm back. Why do you think I turn that off when I get up? I don't want anybody to see how creaky I am. Okay, the noise video or podcast. And it is at
What you looking for?
What are you laughing about now?
I'm laughing about Jonathan's comments.
Who's Jonathan?
Well, what? You still have bones?
Well, sort of. Ones that haven't ossified.
Not totally turned to a cartilaginous species yet.
Yeah.
It probably hurt less, though, huh?
Uh-huh. I think so a whole lot. It might be harder to sit here, and not wiggle a lot more.
You'd probably fold up and whatnot.
Yeah, but it would probably hurt a whole lot less. Robo 10. I wish they could, Ian. I tell you what, I'd go in for it. If they'd set up surgery to fix me right now by making me a robo man, I think I'd take it. I think I'd be glad to be the next $6 million man or whatever. Or $5 man or whatever. I don't care. I can put old Ford parts in if it fixed me. I promise you that. You know, I lost something on my, well, I'm not even going to tell that story. I have, my Google page, when it pops up here, I have buffaloes. I have a picture of, this is my picture. I'll just show you. By one of our favorite artists. And I have this image. I try to change this out about once a month. But see, I have all these little icons and I can't.
Oh, that's one of my favorites right there.
And I lost one and I can't figure out how to put it back in there. Now I can't get rid of it.
Hi, buddy.
Anyway, I can be the platypus of the human species, according to Ian. As long as I don't have to lay eggs, Ian.
Spare parts, man.
Spare parts. I could deal with being a spare parts man, but I don't know if I want to be a platypus. I think I'd rather be part bear of some sort. Maybe part bear, part wolverine with the.
Oh, having them spurs on your feet would be cool, though.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I've never really looked at that. I wonder if they look like spurs on a chicken.
Sorta.
Do they?
Yeah. But they're venomous.
But I know they're venomous. Just meant junk drawer man. Well, okay. If I tell you what, Ian, if I felt better and could get up and down better and could, maybe get out and chase a dog or something, I'd take junk drawer man too. You gotta hurt like this for a few years to understand just how what you'd do to get rid of it. It's pretty significant. No, all right, guys. I'm gonna wrap it up here. And Marcus, don't leave. There's something there's always something I want to ask you, but I'm going to try to remember it. If you're not in a huge hurry, I won't keep you long.
Can't remember it.
No, just hang on a minute. I know what part of it is. There was something I was going to show you, but I know the rest of it. Anyway, guys, I appreciate y'all being here. If you haven't done so, please hit the like button or the dislike button. Let them know you've been here. Leave me a comment. I understand that helps. Garrett tells me that all the time, that the comments help the analytics, but I don't know if he ever leaves me one or not. So I know today was sort of haphazard, not a full, Tim and Mark level education kind of thing. That has a funny ring to it, doesn't it? I'm not sure the education you're getting here might not be one you want to share with your grandkids.
You're not going to get a certificate either.
No, you're not. I'm sorry. Unless I make one up here pretty someday. That's funny there, what that is. Oh, Tina allows how it was fun and she didn't have to chase not a single squirrel. Well, guys, I enjoy you coming here. I enjoy being here on Saturday morning with you guys, so I really do appreciate it. Diana said she got to laugh, and that's good. If we can make you laugh or smile, then we've done our job. So everybody have a great rest of Saturday, and we'll see you next week. And hopefully the creek don't rise, and we can all be back here with our scalps, and everything will be good. So see you then. That's yours or Tina's dogs?
That's mine.
And they said goodbye.
That's my son.